Let's shift gears a bit.
Let's shift gears. Let's shift it up.
Absolutely.
Let's lift.
So we're looking into insurance policies, right, with homeowners warranty.
Great.
And how that applies particularly to our industry. So there is a threshold, as we know, for homeowners warranty, and that currently stands at 20K.
Yep. Including GST.
Including GST.
And including pre-STC rebate.
That's a really fascinating point. So take me through some of these elements of the insurance policy that it applies in New South Wales at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. So I guess let's start on an upper level to that. Like, what does it actually take to sell solar in New South Wales? And these rules, for those listening interstate or international, as we worked out, we've got some international listeners now. These rules vary state to state and area to area. And in New South Wales specifically, which is where we are, to sell solar, like, you must have a contractor's license, right? So that be an electrical contractor's license. And so if you're a sole trader, you can sell solar and you must be an electrical contractor. But you cannot be a sole trader and not be a licensed electrician and sell solar. That's not possible. But you can be a company and the director cannot be an electrician. Many of my friends who have big solar companies that have great reputations are not actually electricians. These guys are super clever humans, they're into data and they're into marketing and whatever else, they're actually, what they're good at is relationships, which is what makes them so successful. And they are not electricians, but they must have an electrician that works for that company. So there must be an electrical supervisor nominated, which gives the company then the right or privilege to become an electrical contractor at the discretion of Fair Work New South Wales. So it's not just a given. You don't just get a contractor's license. You must apply. One must apply. It's a very lengthy process. So for me, for example, I'm individually a electrical contractor. I hold an electrical contractor's license under Jake Warner, but then Penrith Solar, who is Priority Power Services Proprietary Limited, trading as Penrith Solar Centre, holds its own contractor's license. It is its own identity. So I could sell solar under Penrith Solar Centre as we are electrical contractors. So that's the first and foremost, what you need in bare minimum of licensing, to be able to sell it. There are like a few different insurances that we have, amongst public liability, obviously 20 million in public liability. That's also very bare minimum sort of stuff. And our workers' compensation, which is with iCare, which is very heavily regulated. But an interesting one that I personally know of quite a few companies that don't actually have this insurance is the home warranty insurance. So home warranty insurance, I've been making sure I've got my facts right before I come to this potty, Dan, because it's very heavily regulated. Like, iCare are the only people that give this insurance out. They use around, I believe it's about 10 different brokers that you can speak to. So we go through a broker who deals with iCare. And that's how we get home warranty insurance. And how it works, I mean, what is it firstly? Like, reading straight off the home warranty insurance. All this information, by the way, is available on the New South Wales Fair Trading website. We've not written this information. This is literally printed off their website, and I'm just scaling through it. So when do you need it and what is it? So if you're a licensed builder or tradesperson in New South Wales, you need to get home building compensation, HBC, cover for each building project over $20,000, including GST, and specifically in solar, including government rebate or STC incentive. So that doesn't
go that far.
It doesn't go that far. Put it this way, if you're putting a battery, like a Tesla battery on your house and solar, you're over the limit straight away. There is not a single situation where you can put a power wall and a solar system on a house for under 20 grand, including GST. Not possible. So, and you got to keep in mind, like, the client might pay 18 or 19 grand or whatever that looks like, but to the company, it's worth 22 to 23. So, and that's because of the STCs. HBC cover, which used to be called home warranty insurance, which is what I still refer to it as. protects homeowners as a last resort if you can't complete the building work or fix the defects. So if you have ongoing defects and someone's, let's call it a roof leak in 5 to 10 years, and that company's gone broke and they didn't have home warranty insurance, you're caught out. This is where your home warranty insurance policy will cover you for years to come. It's very, very important. People will kind of overlook it and think, well, solar's a short-term relationship when it comes to the install part of it. It's a long-term relationship as far as a relationship goes, but the install's typically 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. So you think for a solar company to go broke in the middle of your install, super unlucky. It would be rare, it's a 1 day thing. Chances are
almost not possible.
It's almost not possible. Yeah. It's somewhat more possible for them to go broke in between taking your deposit and installing. But yeah, to go possible on the day of installing them for not complete. I can think of a scenario where it probably could happen if it's raining for months on end and they've started your installation and kept getting pushed back due to rain delays and then go broke or liquidate due to failure to meet their repayments, because it's rained for 3 months straight, which we kind of all know what that feels like right now. So I guess home warranty insurance does add an extra layer of protection there. Important to note, on home warranty insurance, two things. Home warranty insurance is only for residential. We don't need to take out a home warranty insurance policy for commercial. So it's purely for residential, and it's only for that 20K plus, we said. Anything less than 20K, you don't need it. It's not needed. And the other thing is, subcontractors don't need the cover. Now, we don't use subcontractors here at Penrith Solar. All of our talented install team are our own team members, our solar athletes. But typically in the solar world, how it works is you'll have a head contractor who will sell the job. They will get the gear and do whatever else. Then they'll subcontract the job out. Now, we personally won a deal the other day. Actually, we lost the deal to start with, up top of the mountains. We're about $2,000 or so more expensive than the other company, and the client couldn't justify it, which hurts. We know what we deliver. I get it, price is price, but I kind of called him out. I'm like, hey man, listen. And by the way, this is $2,000 over a $45,000 deal with Tesla batteries, big setup. And I said, hey, make sure you get home warranty insurance, because I know a lot of companies operating without home warranty insurance and just kind of beating around the bush. They come back to this client and said, oh, we get around it by separating the invoices. We'll give you one invoice almost per battery and then one for your solar. I'm like, you know what, man? You're really selling yourself short here. You're accepting this malbehavior, this behavior that's not on, over $2,000. You're putting yourself at risk. What happens when you have a roof leak at year 5? What happens if something does happen to this company? Now, they're a big company, this company particularly. Someone you'd probably expect to comply with New South Wales government guidelines. But they're not. They're not. We're not in the position to go calling people out like that or shooting bullets. And, they won't even watch this. It doesn't matter nonetheless. But I think it's important to not assume that everyone's got this going on. What is important is to read the Consumer's Building Guide here, which can be found again on the New South Wales Fair Trading. It's a fact sheet, right?
2 or 3 pages.
Really it's literally 2 pages. It's available on our proposals too. I believe we send it out with proposals.
I'll put a link in the description to
nice one as well. So it's important to read that, and on top of that, you can actually find out what companies have this insurance through the Fair Trading website. So you can dig deep. And you can actually see what companies hold this insurance. But then let's be clear on this insurance as well. So a company can hold the insurance, and to actually get that fair trade, they go through your financials, they go through your history. Have you had any complaints against you? They, they want to know the director's assets. They want all that sort of information. And the reason that a lot of companies don't have it is because they simply don't get approved for it. They're not financially stable enough, or it's not believed that they'll be around long term. They don't just hand this insurance out to anyone. And when companies do get this insurance, it's actually a big celebration. Like I know a friend of mine, Jesse, who operates a civil company. He had a big celebration on Instagram the other day because he got approved for this insurance, and it's a big milestone for companies, contractors doing this work. So we did the same thing. I remember when we got it, it was like, wow, like we've got it. This is so cool. This is really good. So then we could take on that work. That was worth
in that price bracket.
That's right. Another little thing, because some companies they'll be like, oh, you don't need it. It's not for solar panels. It's only for building work. Well, part of the iCare fact sheet, and you can find this on the iCare website specifically, or Dan, if you want to put a link to it, we can do that. It's got categories of work, right? So it says structural, and under that, some examples of floors, walls, roofs, columns or beams, anything structural. May even be landscaping, could be structural. And then it says non-structural. So any project that does not include the elements listed in the structural column, and pergolas in garages and sheds, which is, I would have thought that would be structural, but that's okay. It's in non-structural. Bathrooms and kitchens, replacement of roof coverings, timber decks, landscaping where retaining walls do not exceed 25% of the contract price, solar panels. Solar panels has its own tier on there. So, and the last one's driveways and paving. So if that doesn't say you need home warranty insurance, if the document that so clearly says it is questioned, you got to be questioning your installer.
That's right. That's breaching the regulations.
Of course. And you accepting that kind of behavior, like let's think about it from the big picture. If they're going to shortcut that part of the process that you know about, what other part are they going to shortcut?
Yeah.
Where do you draw the line? Where does it stop?
Yeah.
What are they using? Like what sort of cable are they using in the roof? Does it comply? Is it like what else is going on?
Are they willing to do?
Are they putting on your roof what they sold you? Or are they just putting up whatever they got in the warehouse?
Yeah.
If they can't comply with these basic rules, they will get found out eventually, and they'll be forced to comply, or they'll be forced to cease trading.
Yep.
But B, you're just putting yourself at risk. You're saying to this solar supplier who might be $1,000 cheaper than us, or in this case up the mountains, $2,000 cheaper than us, over 45K. You're saying to them that this malpractice is okay. Actually, it's not that important that you do the right thing. Yeah, go split the invoices. That's cool. It's not on, it's not on. You need to really consider who lives in that home. Are you shortcutting, at the risk of putting your family in harm's way? Where else in your life are you going to take shortcuts?
That's it. Super important for the people, to know and understand, particularly when you had that opportunity, when you would understand how close you were in terms of price to getting the deal done.
Yes.
That obviously this insurance costs you money.
Correct.
This is built into the price.
Oh, absolutely.
This could very well close that gap completely.
Yeah, we could be the same price.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's a good thing to sort of get onto. What does it look like? How do you know that you've got it? So all you have to do is search the address on the Fair Trading site, and it will come up and say if there's a certificate attached to that house. Yep. So I did a lot of research afterwards to find out. So it's one thing for a company to hold the insurance, but it's another thing for them to actually do as they say that they will do and buy the policy specific to that contract.
Correct.
So what happens, how the process works, this is an example of us applying for the project, the home warranty insurance. It's about it is 9 pages long, right? And it's got all sorts of information specific to this contract. We actually have to provide the contract to them. They go through, they approve it.
Yep.
They then send us a certificate. So this is an example of a certificate that we receive and we send on to our clients. So I've crossed out the sensitive information here. But basically, it outlines what the client has purchased. So this one's solar system plus Tesla Powerwall 2. The contract amount is $29,490, including GST and pre-STC rebate. The area of non-structural, so it comes under non-structural works, and it's got our contractor's license there as well. So down the bottom, it goes through and it's got a heap, like not T's and C's, but it shows the limits of this policy. Now, this policy costs us money. This isn't for free. So we build that into our price. Now, where that other deal was cheaper than us, take the price out of this policy and we're getting a lot closer. It's not $2,000 a policy, to be clear. It's less than that. But that's the certificate that you need. As a homeowner, you were supposed to obtain that before any work commences. Before the start of any project, you need to have that certificate.
Yes.
This is an example of the form post-install. So we let iCare know that, hey, we've finished this job's completed, there are no outstanding defects, and they send us a form, or we send them a form to acknowledge the completion, and they send us back an email saying, hey, acknowledged, we'll take this off your profile. Yes. And what I mean by that is there's only a certain amount of these certificates you can hold at any one time.
That's right.
So when you apply for home warranty insurance, they might say, great, Penrith Solar, you can do $1 million of work at any one given time and a maximum of 20 projects. So we've got a kind of, and I don't actually, ours, I'm not sure what ours is, to be honest. It's been updated since we first got it. It may be 2,040 projects at any one time. Now, I reckon 25% of our projects would fall into this pricing category. So what we do is we'll do the home builders the certificate before we start the job. Obviously, that's compulsory. And then when we finish the job, and it's finished, there's nothing outstanding, we instantly submit the certificate to say it's done. Because that frees up our home warranty insurance and the more jobs we can do. If we start getting to the stage where we don't have any extra tolerance or any extra credit in that home warranty scheme, we would have to up our policy. So we might up it to $4 million at any one time. Now, that's not saying we can only do $4 million a year. That's saying we can have $4 million of certificates active at any one given time. So it's important for you as a consumer, and if you're a solar installer watching this as well, this is something you need to do. I when I started PSC, and I didn't know. I actually didn't know. I had no idea. It took me a little while to work this out.
Yes.
But this is important. This is cover for your clients, and this is cover for you. You can actually see on the Fair Work or Fair Trading website when you search for a company, and you can see if they've had any negative listings. I do know of our competitors that do have, they've received a $3,000 fine, strikes. That's exactly right. They're strikes. They've received those. You can look at that by going on the Fair Trading website, and you can search for the company. Now, the key word is you don't search for their trading name, like you wouldn't search for Penrith Solar Centre. You need to dig deep. You need to find out their ABN, and you need to find out their actual company name, and you search for that in Fair Trading. And it'll bring up any complaints. It'll bring up any historic bad doings, I guess you'd call it. Unfortunately, there's no positive feedback on there. It's all just negative stuff. So it's like fines, director fines, company fines, compliance, things like that. So when comparing quotes, like if someone is saying that they'll split the invoice, or if you go on the Fair Trading and actually see that they've got a mark there, chances are they don't have it.
Don't cop it.
Don't cop it. You can do better than that. You really can. So that's a bit about the home warranty or home builders compensation scheme. You can get all this info. Like I said, we didn't just make this up off New South Wales Fair Trading website. iCare as well. They all tie in. It's kind of like one portal these days where you can sort of see everything in the one space. And that's it, my man. That's a bit about that insurance. What do you reckon?
Really important chat, man. I've obviously got a good understanding of this coming from the building game, and I was very aware of the juggling act that you play, amount of active projects that you have online. So again, it's just another, I guess, headache that the business owner has to burden. So you can plus the financial incentive to not buy these policies.
Oh, of course.
You can see why they probably just put it off, and then years and years go by, and then it just never happens. So sometimes, it takes losing a deal for people to open their eyes and go, hey, we need to get onto this.
We actually need to get this.
We need to get onto this because the market's demanding this stuff.
On that as well, like just going on that, like it takes for people to lose a deal, but it also puts an expiry date on companies that Phoenix, like companies that run at a loss, you won't get this insurance. It's not possible. Or companies with directors that are potentially very greedy and they want to siphon all the money out of the business and show the business running at a loss, they won't get this insurance. And to be honest, that's probably the number one reason I believe most solar companies don't have this, because they're not thinking like net zero by 2050 like us. They're thinking retirement by 2030. That's what they're thinking. They're not caring about long term. They don't care about defects in the future. What they care about is fattening the pig. You know, like they want the pig fat. They want the bank account fat, and then they exit the market. This is the strategy that we see so many times over and over and over again. Or unfortunately, they might exit due to being forced to exit. You know, by not running they're all running an insolvent company or not being profitable because they're playing in this price war territory, which, by the way, like, you might think you've got a short-term win by getting a cheaper system, but you've got a huge long-term headache that comes at the cost of a short-term win from having a system that has no owner. There's no one there to look after that. There's no one there to call. You know, you're going to call us. It's going to cost you money for us to come and fix your stuff, you know, your product, which we will do, by the way. We'll come fix your stuff, no problem at all. But I've seen systems where there's just no fixing this system. This is installed that poorly that unfortunately it is landfill. And that completely fights against our mission and what we're here for. So it's just, I've got it like my favorite thing. If it looks like a duck, it sounds like a duck, it's probably a duck, right? So you know, when you're getting quotes and like, we understand that some of these cheaper or cost-effective systems, they're probably not going to hit that 20 grand threshold. Like,
not very often. Anyway.
No, not very often, you know. And for those companies that are selling cheaper string inverters with cheaper tier 1 panels, they're probably not going to worry about this because they're actually not going to sell a deal that's worth that, which is totally fine, I guess, to a degree. And they shouldn't play in the space where they need this, because they'll be called out for it. You know, they'll be called out, especially when the consumers become educated.